And we are live, queuing up the theme song. That's right, I have a theme song.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah.
It's a new experience.
Yeah, keep your ears open for this one. Got a question
For
from
RLN.
It's time to get some answers, baby. Oh, now we getting real. It's time to get down.
Program.
Feel good now. But I'm talking.
Shout out to my number one and only son who created that theme song. If you don't want to listen to it, I get it. Just fast forward 1 minute. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. I'm your host, Global Happiness Specialist Rebecca L. Norrington, Happiness Specialist. Who the hell does she think she is? Happiness. Oh, okay. I was just reading a note. What does that say? Okay. Happiness specialist. Oh, how, one time someone told me that was toxic behavior. But what I share on this show, which has been 15 years now, of almost 700 shows over a period of time, how to experience more happiness on the journey. That's it. And happiness, like any other skill, is a practice. It's a practice skill. But what do you practice? You practice eliminating all of the programmed behaviors. I've already documented 56. I'm up to 57, 58, I believe. 56 program behaviors that have been proven to subtract from your happiness. And when I say a program behavior, it's a behavior, a thought, a belief that you didn't have when you were born, that you didn't have when you were 1 or 2 or 3. When you're 2 years old, you couldn't be offended. Your feelings couldn't be hurt. You didn't blame anyone for your circumstances or for your mood. It is a practice of eliminating the programming, and it is the programming that is causing the suffering. But even more than that, especially in today's world, I was online, and not online. I was looking, kind of scrolling on X, and one of the global gurus was talking about, what did he say? Let me write that down. Oh, it's so interesting how the programming even permeates these. No judgment here. I'm just describing these gurus that believe that they have the answer, and it has nothing to do with accomplishment. When I say that, happiness, peace, inner peace, contentment has nothing to do with accomplishments. And if you don't believe me, ask Tom Brady. If you don't believe me, ask Michael Jordan. They're still dissatisfied with all of their accomplishments. You are either in any particular moment, you are either vibrating a vibration of satisfaction or dissatisfaction, regardless. And so how do you maintain this vibration of peace and contentment, especially when when life is throwing curveballs all the time? After all of these years, it comes down to two to three basic beliefs, thoughts, practices. And that's what today's topic is. Today's topic is, what is the topic called? Hold on. It's going to come. Oh, breaking free of the illusion. Wow. Yikes. That's what happens when you're 70. Breaking free of the illusion. And when I talk about the illusion, what I mean is identifying with the mind, identifying with these thoughts and stories, identifying with what's in your head. There is another level. There is another level, another place of being and living. You can still accomplish, you can still achieve, you can still uh, 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 set goals and make goal and accomplish the goals. But that all of that external activity, all of that external building. I saw online today one well, I'm going to say acquaintance, but I've met her a few times. Really nice woman, and she was accepting an award, and you had the whole garb. It looked like a graduation, where you wear the cap and the gown. All that's fine, well, good, great, yay. But what happens after those moments? What happens after that afternoon of celebration? What happens when you are alone and scratch the you? What happens? What happens when I'm alone and all of the accolades and all of the applause and all of the cheers are gone? That's what I'm talking about focusing on. How do you maintain? How am I able to still vibrate peace and contentment even though the day is like this? And the answer is hold on a second. I'll come to that in a minute. I get a lot of new people following the show, listening to the show. And let me just give you a little bit of background. If you feel inspired, Google the 5 most common regrets of the dying. I've said it every time I've started a show, but Google the 5 most common regrets of the dying. It's a very famous study, and it was done by a hospice nurse. And she interviewed her patients who had days to live, weeks to live, months to live. And she asked them what were their biggest regrets. The 5th regret is, I wish I would have been happier. Before the infamous slap heard round the world, Will Smith was interviewed in GQ magazine. Thank you, Will Smith. And he said, I have everything. He was interviewed in November 2021. He said, I have everything: money, fame, awards. At the time he said loving family, but I'm not happy. And that's my focus of this show. And that's has always been the focus of this show. I've been teaching the Truth About Happiness classes. I'm going into my 9th semester at UNLV in Vegas. And these people are seniors, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90-year-old people that are still searching for, still feeling, still thinking that there's something missing. In fact, what's missing is a personal level of contentment. Now, when I say contentment, that doesn't mean that you're not active. That your hands are behind your head and you're no. How do you navigate through this life of ups and downs and still remain content, still remain at peace? That's a practice. And it is an ongoing practice. And when I share that, I met a woman yesterday in the locker room who became unglued. I have never had that experience, just meeting someone. And what we started, she was telling me how she was lonely and she wasn't able to make friends. I mean, she went on and on and on with her stories. And I'm listening to her, and she says, I live alone. And I said, here we go. And I said, God wants you to live alone at this moment, or the universe wants you to have to be. In other words, everything is in order. That was what I was trying to convey. And this bitch did I say bitch? And this woman What is that? And this woman became unglued. And she started yelling at me. Who the hell do you think you are? What do you mean God wants me to be alone? What kind of? I said, hey, I'm just a happiness specialist here, just trying to drop some jewels. And I immediately went into this is the practice and this is the activity. I immediately went into this surrendering mode, because when this is my perspective, when I encounter people that get angry, and especially when they are putting the anger, forcing the anger, and it's because of you. It's your fault I'm feeling like this. And especially when the anger elevates to a really high level, mental illness, a really high, she just met me, really high level. What I do, I go into an instant surrender mode with hand gestures. This is the hand gesture, head all the way down. And I said, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to upset you. I feel so bad that you took my words as an insult or you were offended. And it was an honest statement. And I mean, I couldn't get any more humble. But that's a practice. That is a practice. That is an instant way. It's a very difficult for someone to keep beating up on someone when they're all the way surrendered, head down. I mean, I could have got on my knees. I've done that before, got on my knees. And so my point is this: in any moment, whatever the world throws at me, there is a practice of, I'm talking about myself, there is a practice of intense surrender, bowing, I'm sorry, humble. And it usually 98% of the time works. So this is just another way, this is just another insight of how I practice. And when I'm sharing this story, know that happiness, inner peace, all of it is a practiced skill. But what do you practice, Rebecca? And how do you get to a place where you are committed and you value peace and contentment, and you value what the world doesn't? I was listening to someone else. I'll just share this really quick. And he shared a story about a waiter that became upset while he was at a restaurant, and the waiter became upset. He says, "Oh, well, why didn't you tell me that paraphrasing, why didn't you tell me that at the beginning? Oh, you want food now?" And so the person came back at the waiter with the same energy that the waiter showed. When you meet someone and you give them back exactly how they're behaving, there is no peace. This woman in the locker room yesterday, if I came back at her with that same amount of anger, with that same amount of frustration, with that same energy, do you think there would have been any peace? Absolutely not. And I could have done that. Easy. Trust me. I know who I used to be. I could have done that. But it comes back to the individual and what do they value. And at 20 years old, at 30 years old, at 40 years old, I have to say, peace wasn't valued. However, even this journey of what, decades? I'm 70 now. Please don't tell anyone. Even this journey, even at 70, there are still things to practice. And let me get to today's topic. Breaking free from the illusion. This is the answer to all suffering. This is it. This is the answer. And the answer is to separate yourself, practice separating from this human identity, which is an illusion anyway. Practice separating from this human identity. When I identify with another level, when I identify, and I'm not going to say higher or lower, but another level, which is I'm consciousness, I'm presence. And when I walk out of the house, it is a constant. Remember who you are. Remember who you really are. You're not Rebecca Norrington. You're not this human. You are consciousness, you are awareness, you are presence, you are beyond. You are beyond this human form. And when that is practiced, I promise you, when you practice identifying, some people say higher self. When you practice identifying with the higher self, the only thing that I will experience is peace. That's it. It's impossible to experience anything else other than peace when I am identifying with the higher self. And that is a daily moment in the moment practice. I was, let me just back up. Practice using the word practice as opposed to working on it, trying. Insert the word practice. It's softer and it's a softer vibration, and there is an ease. I'm practicing the piano. I'm practicing how to speak without saying ums or using filler words. I'm practicing the latest recipe. I'm practicing painting. In fact, look at this. One of my students, exercise students, who lives in a assisted living in the memory care section, drew this for me. Isn't that precious? And there was another woman that was, so they were coloring yesterday. There was another woman that was coloring in. And of course, her color, she wasn't able to stay in the lines, but this one did. And it was just meant, this is so beautiful coloring at, I believe she's 90, 94. Isn't that pretty? Memory care, though, diagnosed with Alzheimer's. People don't want to hear, scratch that. The majority, I find, do not want to hear, do not want to, no. Let me back that up, because it's not about they don't want to. It's just not their time to get the message. That there is a different way. There is a different way to experience this life. And in fact, this is one of my favorite quotes. I showed this last week. You are not experiencing life. You are experiencing the mind. And when life is only experienced through the mind, through this mind, get ready for a roller coaster. Get ready for the big S, the big U, the big F, the big F, the big ER, the big suffering. When living is only experienced through the mind, there is no way you're going to that anything other than discontent is going to come in. But nobody wants to hear this. Scratch that. Not too many people are open to hearing and accepting. And it has nothing to do with them. It has something to do with it's just not time. It's not time to accept the fact that the majority of my life, of Rebecca's life, scratch the my, the majority of Rebecca's life was spent right here in the mind. And it is impossible to find peace, to maintain peace through this very limited mind. The mind doesn't want peace. The mind is always looking for something else. The mind is not satisfied with the present moment. The mind, there's got to be something more. The mind doesn't want to live in the present moment. The mind doesn't live in the present moment. The mind is always going, constant. It's like turning on the television set and leaving it on. Turning on the television set and leaving it on forever. I was going to say radio, but people listen to the radio. Yeah, the radio still. Yeah, of course. Breaking free from the illusion. And when I say illusion, I mean it. All of this, what the world calls a life, is a big illusion. And when I breathe my last breath and I wake up again, or am awakened, the realization that all of this, everything from birth to the end of life is an illusion. Now, what is the practice? It's to enjoy the illusion. But make no mistake, it is an illusion. But to enjoy it and to have fun and to be entertained and not to take any of this shit seriously, because it's not. It's just not. And the practice is also to begin putting a spotlight on all programmed behavior. And there's at least, I've documented 56 programmed behaviors. Look at this hair today. Lord have mercy. Now, the programming is going to tell me, the programming is going to preach, the programming is going to focus on numbers, results, outcome. But I'm here to tell you that at this stage, at 70, I am sitting on a raft, an inner tube, and it is the activity is to flow through all of it. Do you know how magical this is? Let me show you. This was just today. I sent a gift to my best friend's wife. She just started exercising in the pool. And if you've ever exercised in the pool, it's very beneficial. However, one of the pieces of equipment that I use are water weights. And so I found out she just started exercising in the pool for the first time in her life. And I said, I'm going to send her some water weights. They're from HydroFit. Now listen to this magic. You ready? In an email, I received an email that said, track your purchase. Yeah, track your purchase. In other words, you can tell where the water weights are. So I don't know where they're being shipped from, but now I'm in Nevada. Listen to this. Track your order. You ready for this? For everyone that knows me, knows that I lived in Oregon for 5 years in the middle of the forest. I love Oregon. I love Roseburg, Oregon. I love Roseburg. I consider that my grounding home, whatever the hell that means. That in Iceland. But anyway, I digress. I consider Roseburg a deep cellular place where I call home. Where Rebecca calls home. You follow the difference? Where Rebecca calls home. Because in reality, everywhere that I am is home. Everywhere that I am is home. Okay, it says track your shipment. Listen to this. I purchased these a couple of days ago. Track your shipment. Now, my friend is in California. I just randomly tracked the shipment. Guess where these water weights are now? You will never believe it. I didn't believe it. The shipment is on its way. Current location, Rose. Well, you can't see it. Rose. Oh, you can't see it. Hold on, because I took a picture. Roseburg, Oregon. Current location. Hold on. Current location, Roseburg, Oregon. I lived in Roseburg for 5 years. That this shipment was being sent through Roseburg, and that's where it is now. Going to California to my best friend. Don't tell me this journey isn't magical. Don't tell me this journey is all by design. Don't tell me this journey isn't in order. Don't tell me this journey hasn't been planned. That's just such a small example of all of the synchronicities that happen, not only to me, to you as well. Breaking free from the illusion, breaking free from believing that this human existence, number one, is so important, is so dynamic, is so real. It's not. This identity, Rebecca Norrington, her what she's done, what she's accomplished, where she's lived, book, Program for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untruth. It's on Amazon. In this book, I list 56 program behaviors and that subtract from happiness. And I also list behaviors that add to happiness that you can practice. All of this, not serious, not important. And what is my responsibility? What is my job here while I'm breathing, while I'm in this human form? Is to express, is to experience without judgment, is to express. And when I say express what? Express what the universe, express what God, express what source, express what the creator, express what presence wants to feel. Or the word is experience. I got to come up with another word other than experience. Hey, Siri. What's another word for experience? Oh, see, the experience, thesaurus. Incident, involvement, undergo, encounter. Okay, meet, have experience of, come encounter with, contact with, run across, face, confront, be. What? Endure, tolerate, participate. Okay, back to the show. Sorry for that. So the practice is to really start relaxing with this journey called life. Getting caught up and believing what the mind is spewing, believing what the mind is conjuring, believing what the mind is concluding will keep you stuck. Let's see. My point is, You will feel all these different emotions. I used to when I lived in Oregon in the middle of the forest by myself. I'm so lonely. I'm lonely. I'm lonely. But getting to this point now, this 10 years later, 8 years later, I stopped labeling emotions. What? Stopped labeling emotions. There is a vibration, there's an energy that you can feel. How about just feeling the emotion without labeling it loneliness? How about just feeling an emotion without labeling it sadness? How about coming up with a neutral word? See, because sad has a judgment, lonely has a vibe to it. How about just feeling pensive? How about feeling uninspired? And let's go to anger. How about feeling charged? Or how about, and I've said this millions of times, not millions. How about feeling energized? Practice. Stop labeling the emotions. That's breaking free of a program that labels emotions because here we go. When the emotions are labeled, there is automatically a programmed reason as to why I'm feeling those emotions. And the why is always a story. Guy Finley is my favorite quote. He says, the feel is real, the why is a lie. So the feeling, all different types. I'm human in this human form. And so as a human, I'm going to feel all different types of emotions and feelings. But the higher self, I'm not going to allow any of these emotions to any of these emotions to make me attach a story to it. How about just feeling? Yeah, I'm feeling this, and know that this feeling is going to pass. This woman yesterday, the one that went scorch hell crazy, bat crazy on me. Guess what? I created her. I wanted to have that experience with this woman that went nuts. I wanted to experience this. Just like I wanted to, when I say I'm talking about before I even dropped on the planet. I know this is another level. This is another level understanding. This is another level of clarity. But everything that I have and everything that I will experience, it's something that I signed off on. Yep, let me experience a crazy woman screaming and yelling at me in the locker room. And when that practice becomes constant, there is absolutely nothing to resist. When the practice becomes constant, a go-to, if you learn how to drive a stick shift, you always remember. If you learn how to ride a two-wheeler, you will always a bicycle, you will always remember. It's just coming back to the memory of, okay, this is an experience that I am supposed to be having. That's when that woman went off on me. This is an experience that I'm supposed to be having. Why? Doesn't matter why. If it's happening, I'm supposed to experience it. And if it's not, I'm not. In timing is everything. Look out into nature. Everything is planned. Everything is timed, from the season when the birds fly down south, when the birds migrate, when the animals migrate. It's all timing. That's all this is. It's all timed. Everything is in order. Practice breaking free from the illusion. How do you do that? You know that everything is here today, gone tomorrow. Here, gone. very fleeting, not important, not serious. God will have his will, her will. God will, the universe will have its way. Yeah. And the universe will not only have its way, but it's always had its way. There is nothing that the universe doesn't sign off on, including the most atrocious acts and behaviors. And those atrocious acts and behaviors have been happening since the beginning of time. There's nothing new, from wars to enslaving people to judging to shunning to mistreatment to nothing is new. And there have always been a few in every century time. I was going to say time zone. Every moment of time, teachers from Buddha to Jesus to Confucius, teachers that from Dr. David Hawkins, Alan Watts. There was another one. I'm going blank. Teachers throughout time that express the truth. I'm not saying anything that Moji, that's one of my favorite spiritual teachers now, Moji, that have not expressed the same things I'm saying. I just look a little bit different. I mean, look at this. It's the truth. And the truth is separating the mind, separating self, practicing witnessing the mind, observing the mind, as opposed to identifying with the mind, you will experience more peace, happiness, and contentment. Everything that happens, it's not personal. There is nothing out there that's personal. Nothing. From what anyone says, from circumstances, it's not personal. It's just part of the journey. None of this shit's personal. None of it. And that's a hard concept to practice. That's a hard concept to continue to practice. But the happenings, whatever they are, they're still not personal. But nobody wants to hear it. The mind is very powerful. And the reason why it's so powerful, because when I distance myself and when I practice confronting the mind, guess what? It does not like it. It needs to survive. It needs to live just like cancer needs to live, just like cancer cells, just like a virus needs to live. So of course the mind is going to fight back, and it's got plenty of disguises. But no, that you are not your mind and you are not your thoughts. You're on another level. You are awareness. You are awareness, you are presence, you are purpose, you are consciousness in a form of a human body. What are the biggest problems facing the world today? Let's name some. Is it global warming? Is it racism? Is it poverty? Did I say war? Is it war? Is it whatever? Is it people? Is it anger? Is it mental illness? It's people that are unhappy. And it starts with believing the illusion, believing that a television show, believing that a movie is real. Breaking free from the illusion is not easy. Breaking free from the illusion is a constant practice. But when you break free and when you realize that all this shit isn't serious, and I mean none of it, then peace will follow. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Well, that's the end of today's show. I want to thank you for listening. Reality Spirituality Radio is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Follow me on X at RL Norrington. I'm on LinkedIn. My Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality. YouTube channel is growing. Like and subscribe. Smash the like button. I like the young kids say, smash the like button. Like button. And my first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, was published in 2014. But my latest book, it's called Programmed for Unhappiness. And it is the programming, exposing the untold truth. This is on Amazon. And in this book, I list 56 programmed behaviors. That's a lot. I'm up to 58 now. I've documented 56 program behaviors that have been proven to subtract from happiness, and they're different levels. Level 1, level 2, level 3. Level 1, I say civilians, all civilians. In fact, let me just share. All civilians would be able to agree that blaming anyone or your circumstances for how you feel, that's a program behavior. Comparing yourself to someone else, trying to control anything or anyone outside yourself, complaining. Oh, that's a big one. You know, the addictions that people don't talk about. We've heard the drugs, we've heard the shopping, we've heard what else? Drug shopping, gambling, food addictions. How about the addiction to complaining? Or this is a good one too, an addiction to worrying. Everybody knows that worrying isn't good. Worrying isn't healthy. Worrying does absolutely nothing for the worrier and the worryee. But guess what? Why can't you stop? Addicted to worrying. That's just another program. And the only reason why people worry, dropping gems here, you're welcome. The only reason why people worry is a lack of practicing trust. You can't trust and worry at the same time. Is it a choice? Not if you're not recognizing the program. Happiness isn't a choice, especially if you're programmed. Can a robot change its programming? So the practice is to elevate, transcend, go beyond the programming, and put a spotlight on the program. Here we taking anything personally. Oh, that's a program. Taking anything personally is just another example of a program. How about this one? Being impatient. Impatience is just another program. We're patient with the baby, patient with the puppy, patient with the little kitten, but this impatience is just another program. I don't know. I was saying goodbye and I got caught up. Until next week, my dear audience, I want you to remember who the hell you are. You are a physical extension of the universe. You're always growing. You're always evolving. Love is patient and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself by accepting yourself and accepting the moment, accepting every moment without resistance. It's a practice. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It is about the journey. You've been listening to Reality Spirituality Radio with yours truly, global happiness specialist, Rebecca L. Norrington. And remember, happiness, like any other skill, is a practice. It's a practice skill. But what do you practice? You practice eliminating all program behaviors. And I promise you, the more you practice and the more you recognize and the more you practice identifying with your higher self as opposed to this human self, you will experience more peace. You will experience more contentment. You will be able to practice living in the moment. It is a practice, and that's it. Your experience reflects on what you practice. Thank you for listening. Have a conscious week. Later, alligators.